tried.
Okay, we're live. We were having some early technical difficulties. Obviously, happy Friday the 13th. So this does not surprise me in the least. Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to say that you are listening to this week's Breakfast with Boom. Of course, I'm your host, Mr. BoomStickXL. And on today's show, I have brought together an absolutely fantastic panel of guests. So grab your coffee or put a little something in your coffee. Grab that bacon, egg, and cheese hero, which I would love to eat right now. Pull up a chair and get ready for the best gaming talk show on Friday morning. And that's Boomstick approved. First up, the lovely Primal Eve, who's making her third appearance on the show. Welcome, fellow New Yorker. Hello?
Eve, that's your cue.
Well, listen, we'll get back to Eve in a hot second. Maybe she's having some mic issues. Listen, it is Friday the 13th. I think I jinxed it by saying it. You guys all yelled at me.
You did.
There we go.
Hey, Eva, Friday the 13th jinx continues.
Hello.
Oh. Hello.
Welcome to the show. This is your third episode. I really appreciate you being here today. I know that you just got up a little while ago and you're still trying to shake that sleepiness. How you feeling?
Doing pretty good. I was up late gaming last night.
Yes, we were talking about that pre-game. You were playing a little bit of that Warhammer, correct?
Yes, and hopefully we have time to talk about that today, but I'm very thankful for you having me on the show, and I'm really excited to discuss these topics with this panel.
I really appreciate you being here. Next up is the extremely very good friend of mine, and I hope he's going to answer because he hasn't talked yet. That, of course, is the Welsh gamer. Dude, let me tell you, I could not be happier that the Dragon X podcast is back. I appreciate you being here once again. Good morning.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We certainly can. Good morning. And again, thanks again for being here, brother.
No, thank you. Thank you. I mean, I'm so sorry I'm late. It wasn't, my computer was just doing my head in. It wouldn't register that I had a mic and it wasn't turning on properly. I thought, Jesus Christ. But but it's all good, brother. Thank you for having me again. I can't wait to get deep into these topics.
You know, I like I was saying before, you know, the internet did not seem right without having the Dragon X podcast doing the content that you bring. And I could not be happier that you brought it back and your crew is back and you're going strong with it. It is important that if you don't follow the Welsh Gamer, you should, number one. And number two, you should definitely be checking out the Dragon X podcast. It's fantastic.
No, I appreciate that, Boom. I really do. I mean, it's so good to have it back, but not just that. Like the new format, like we're going to be more consistent.
Yes.
Every other week we're going to do a show, and it's just I'm excited to see where it goes because we're going to be taking it a lot more seriously.
Well, you know what? I expect big things, to be completely honest. I've been a guest on the show. I will be back again. And you know what? It's great. Now, of course, following the Welsh Gamer is his partner in crime on the Dragon X podcast, but he's also the showrunner of the Micropod podcast. That, of course, is Microbox of X. Welcome back, dude. I'm glad that you're on today's show.
Oh man, I can't thank you enough for another invite. To be honest with you, I was working it out today. This is the fourth podcast in a row that I've done with you.
Yes, that is correct. That is absolutely correct.
And I've just found out from UK Dazarus that you're on the Dazcast on Wednesday, which I'm going to be on.
Oh, hey, listen, great minds hang out, bro. That's what they say. But listen, I want to say I was a guest on your show. I had an absolute fantastic time. I look forward to being back, but thanks again for coming. I know it's midday where you guys are, but I certainly appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out. Next on the guest list is first timer Andy Mack, who's going to be doing a heck of a lot more speaking than he's used to, because this, of course, is a conversational podcast. Welcome, dude. I appreciate you coming on today's show.
Thanks very much. I thought this was just a time for me to drink and actually be on the panel on the bottom.
Wait a minute. Who invited him? Boom, if you told me he was going to be here, mate, I wouldn't have come. What the hell's going on here?
The show is off the rails this early. It's going to be a good show.
Just so everyone knows, I'm not an alcoholic. It's
Soda-holic.
3:05. It's 3:05 in the afternoon here.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, you drink away, my friend. As long as you answer the questions, you're going to be okay in my book.
Thanks very much.
And last but certainly not least is another first timer on today's show. That is the how do you pronounce the name? Agrophobic?
Oh, I've called myself the Agrophobic Gamer.
The Agrophobic Gamer, who is a panel member of the Micropod. Welcome, dude. I appreciate you being here. I hope that you're not sorry that you signed on to this mess.
No, not at all. Like, I was quite surprised for the invite. I mean, because other than like actually being on the podcast for the Micropod, like, I don't really have much of a presence online with YouTube videos and stuff. I just do streaming in my spare time for fun sometimes. So yeah, I'm happy to be on here. Thanks for inviting us on.
Oh no, listen, dude. Everyone has a voice, and again, I'm a big believer. You know, we all have to start somewhere. You know, no one jumps on YouTube and immediately has 1 million followers. You have to start small, and you eventually, if you put in the work, will grab a following, and people are going to want to listen to your stuff. So again, I appreciate you being here. So let's jump into these topics because we have a lot of them, and I really like putting on a good show because 2 hours of people's time, you have to respect that. So I put it's been really slow when it comes to news, but I really think that I put a real solid group of topics together, and I hope everyone enjoys it. First up, love it or hate it, Inside Xbox is the only legit Xbox show available for the community, right? Most fans don't really care for it, and some of the content is very yawn-esque, if you will. But the question that I'm going to throw out there to not only to the panel members, because I really like getting the chat involved. If you were going to make a change to the show, what, in your opinion, needs to change to make this show something that the fans look forward to? I'm going to go to the Welsh Gamer first, brother, because you are a big Xbox guy. You make no qualms about it. We've talked privately. This show could be, boring, but every now and again they will throw a surprise. And what do you think needs to change to make this a show that the fans are going to be looking forward to each and every month?
First of all, I think from a fan's perspective, people need to stop building it up to something it isn't. Because let's be real, it's just a show that they throw together to get a little bit of an inside look on either some new games or interviews with the dev. People need to stop hyping it up as if it's like an E3 pressing every week. That's number one. Like this show will only ever be what it's set out to be. It's not a Gamescom. It's not an E3. If it was, then why the hell would we be excited for E3 every year? So that's one thing I wanted to get off my chest, because I do find people need to cut it a little bit of slack. But with that said, I do believe hand on heart that it does need a bit of a reshift, a resculpting. It needs a little bit of fresh blood. I think Major Nelson is a great advocate for the Xbox community, and he's got a lot of charisma, and he's in his own way, but he can be quite a yawn fest himself. I find him quite a boring cat at times. So I just think, in my opinion, if I was the show producer, I'd cut it in half. I'd make it about half an hour long. I'd keep it very contained, very short, sweet, to the point, just to keep the engagement alive with the audience. And I'd get some newbies in, like get some youngsters, up and comers, like young blood in there, really, just to like give it that spice of life kind of feel. Just to because like I said before, it's never going to be an E3, and it's never going to be anything more than what it's set out to be. And like you were just saying a moment, Boom, like news at the minute is quiet. So if it's quiet for us YouTube content creators, that doesn't mean it's not going to be quiet for them neither. So why are they getting all this scrutiny for it being like a boring show? They didn't show anything, when it's just because they're on the pedestal and put under the limelight. It's no different for them as it is to us. I mean, it's hard to get like topics together every week and make videos every day or whatnot, because sometimes the news and the stuff just isn't there. So that it applies to them as well. But I just think they need to contain it, not drag it out, keep it small, short, sweet, just a little bit of a taster, just for something to watch. But I'll give them the credit where it's due, just to end my point, because I'm blabbing on.
No, listen, dude, please talk away. We have a 2-hour show. We got to fill it up. So say what you want to say.
I just think it serves its purpose. There's, you know, it is what it is. It's just a little bit of a appetizer. If you're an Xbox fan, you don't have to tune into it. It's not the best thing that ever like graced the television, or you know, it just is what it is. But if you're asking me how they could make it better, I would just shorten it, keep it moving, get some young blood in there with a bit more spice, maybe give it a bit more of a comic factor, just to get people engaged with it. Whereas like Major Nelson, I love the dude. I think he's a great guy. I think he does a lot for Xbox, but the show is very dragged out, and he doesn't really keep my attention. So that'd be my only criticism. But I don't know what else to say, really. I think that's it, really. I think people need to stop hyping it up, for one. Don't set yourself up for disappointment every week or every month. Like, I don't even know how often it's on. Like, I don't even watch it, really.
Usually it's once a month. That's when they usually do it, once a month.
Yeah. I always catch the arse end of it when it's on. I don't make a point of watching it, but for people who do want to watch it and follow it, which is fine, just don't get your hopes up that every time it's on, they're going to show a new AAA banger that's going to blow everything up. You know, it's not like that. You know, E3's just come and gone. It's probably just going to be, you know, the odd interview with like the Forza dev or the guys at Ninja Theory. You know, that's all it's going to be. Maybe the odd indie dev. That's all I can really say.
No, it makes sense. Listen, Micro, I'll go to you. What would you do differently to make this show? Because again, it's not the worst thing we've ever seen, but it's just. I respect Major Nelson for the advocate, like Welsh was saying that he is for the franchise, but I just think that he just should not be the showrunner, if you will. I think they need someone with either younger or someone who's more in tune with the community to take the lead. I think that he could stay doing the show that he does for the Xbox console, and it would be perfectly fine. But I think this might be above him. Am I wrong for thinking that?
Yes and no. I mean, I agree a lot with what Welsh said, and a lot with what you're saying. I mean, it's funny enough, I did a video on this today, and it went up about half an hour before the show went up. You know, we seem to be, I don't know, we just seem to be complaining a lot these days about things that we don't have to watch, and we don't have to pay for. And I find it a little bit bizarre. But yes, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, I watched this Xbox, and I enjoyed the show. I think it does what it does. You know, it does exactly what you expect it to do. And like Welsh was saying, people just expecting this to be like an extension of E3 or EGX or, you know, something along these lines. And they're expecting these big announcements every time. I mean, the only real announcement they had on this one was the Rocket League coming to Game Pass, but that was leaked previous anyway. Everybody knew about that. But I think it does exactly what it needs to do. It's just supposed to be an informative sort of magazine type Xbox show, and at the end of the day, these guys don't have to do it. They take the time out to do the show for us once a month, and I think we can be a bit overcritical sometimes about these things. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the best case scenario for me, what I would do to change it, I'd bring the outside Xbox team back into Inside Xbox, get them presenting it again, because they were funny, they were fun. Yep. They're fed off each other. I mean, they were at EGX last year. They're still really popular.
Well, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut in them, but that was going to be one of my points. Is like basically they haven't got the original presenters, which was Dan Meyer, Mr. Pointy.
Yeah, I mean, AC Bongos is still there. You know, Graham Boyd, and he's great. You know, I mean, he is very good. But I like Major Nelson. I think he's a great advocate, as Welsh said, for the Xbox, and I think he should be involved in the show, because I do think, although sometimes he can be a bit dry and a bit dull, he's still got a presence there. He's still got a presence, and everybody knows him. You know, he's a name everybody automatically associates with Xbox. You know, Major Nelson is Xbox. But yeah, they could put a little bit more of. I mean, the two other younger presenters on there, I found some of their stuff between each other was just cringeworthy on the latest show. It just doesn't work, and it's just really cringy. And I didn't like it. I don't know their names. I did try and search up before I come on the podcast, so I knew, but those two don't really do it for me at all. But the rest of the show is fine. At the end of the day, an hour. You know, it's only once a month. They should have enough news to fill up an hour. I mean, we had some great stuff from Forza Horizons 4 on there. But yeah, no, they could sort of maybe jiggle the production a little bit. The presenters need jiggling a little bit. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's a show. It's on, you know, Mixer. It's free to watch. If you don't like it, just don't watch it. You know, why do people feel the need to just criticize and attack all the time? And as I say, I mean, that's what I've done in my video today. I just find that we seem to be a community and a world of complainers at the moment, and there's no positiveness anywhere. Anyway, so that's all I got for you.
Can I just say though, like you hit the nail on the head with regards to people complaining about things that are free. I mean, I'm not having a go at anybody at all in the community who feels they have a reason to complain about anything. I mean, like if you've got a voice, use it. But it's the same like games of gold. I mean, like
yeah,
you know, some months you win, some months you lose. Some games are absolutely trash, and you think, why have you even bothered? But bottom line, they're free. Why are you complaining? But that's just something I wanted to throw on top.
Yeah, I mean, it's just true. I mean, people complain about Game Pass. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy that service. You know, why complain about a service if you don't want it? Don't subscribe to it. It's a simple thing, but people just love to moan and groan and complain. Who knows?
You know society. What? Well, I want to hear what the agoraphobic gamer has to say, because you jumped in and you made some good points. What would you do? Again, I know people are complaining, and I think the reason why we're getting complaints isn't because we're a whiny community. I think that we have been under the thumb of the gaming media for so long that we want Microsoft to listen. E3 was a giant W for the company, and they have been on a complete high ever since. We know this for a fact. In fact, as a matter of fact, if you look at the way the media has been addressing Microsoft, the winds of change are blowing. There's no doubt about it. But this show, in my opinion, is, even though it's free and you know what, it's the only show that we got, they could do better. So what would you change to make it better?
Like I said, I mean, the main thing for me was because, like, I mean, I watch it. I enjoy watching it because, like, I like to listen to like the dev like a dev diet type thing, or interview, so I should say. Like I'm a very big researcher. I like to know what's going on. So for me, it's like informative because I used to actually do like game journalism. So I used to like, you know, need to find out as much info as possible. So from that point of view, the interviews are like good. I really like hearing what's going on. Like I say, the only thing I would have changed is I would have brought back in, like, you know, Dan and Andy, and would have had them present it and not have this big massive stage where it feels like it's so empty. And it was just them on a couch, you know, like obviously outside Xbox has still got Andy on it, and he just sits on the couch, like, you know, and they do like little skits and stuff like that, like, and that's what I always loved about like inside Xbox, was watching them two, because they had great chemistry, and they also, like, you know, informed us about all the games and stuff that were coming out. So I mean, it might not be for some, but I mean, at the end of the day, they announced they do announce like some exclusive stuff on there. Obviously, they announced like with Game Pass, with the Rocket League and that going to Game Pass, which is great. But they also announced like the game I've got today, like Earthfall. Like the devs announced live on air that said that like all of the DLC is going to be free. So I was like, oh, cool. Well, you know what I mean? None of us knew that. So,
right, that actually was a good announcement for sure.
Yeah, there is something, and obviously they built up the thing for Forza Horizon 4, and then it led into the stream, which I watched as well. Like, so it serves a purpose, depending on your mindset. If you're expecting a lot, like Welsh said, like, then just don't. You know what I mean? It's a show that's there to help you, like, you know, digest what like bits of information that they've got to give you. Also, some things that you might not know, and also, like, you know, maybe clue you in on a couple of things that you'd hope would happen. Is That's my whole thing on it. To change it though, yeah, it seems too formal and too game showish, because like the way it's set up, the actual set, it just looks too big and barren. It's like I'd rather have them like, you know, on a couch just chatting. Like I've seen interviews with like with Phil, a Giant Bomb, and they're just sat on the couch and they're chatting, and it's more about the actual, like, you know, the conversation than it is more about the presentation. I don't care about the presentation. I just want to know like the meat and potatoes of what the actual thing is. That's it in a nutshell. So yeah, that'd probably be the two things I'd probably change. And also, to address the ageism that Welsh came out with, you don't need it to be young and fresh. And Major Nelson's cool, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I actually teabagged Major Nelson, not in real life, on Battlefield 3.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, no.
Then he would probably have an order of protection against.
He made the mistake. He went to Liverpool.
It was back on the 360 days, and we were playing in one of the renter servers, like on Battlefield 3. And we spotted him, me and my mate, and my mate managed to kill him, but I managed to teabag him, and I mentioned it to him on Twitter the next day, and he acknowledged it. He was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." I said, "Good game," you know what I mean? He's a cool dude. So
nothing like getting a thumbs up for teabagging Major Nelson.
Yeah, so that was what he teabagged you. So trying to kill him.
Say nice ass.
Eve, I'm going to go to you next. What is your take? I mean, do you watch the show?
I don't really, but I'm going to agree with the whole meat and potato things, because I really need the meat. Right. And when I was watching it, this last episode, it really it bored me. Okay. I didn't even end up watching the whole entire thing, and it is about presentation, and I don't want to feel like I'm being spoken to. I want to feel like I'm included in the conversation, even though I'm not really saying anything. It is wrong for people to bash them just because they're doing something for you, but they need to do something for you good.
I understand. I mean, listen, you know, it's you kind of want some substance with what they're doing, and for some it's not that serious, and for others, people enjoy it. And listen, it's like anything. A show could come on TV, and you know, half the panel like, well, you know, it's not really my thing, so I don't really dig it, and then the other half could be like, well, that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So I mean, you know, okay. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Anything else on it?
No, that's probably why I don't bother watching it, because it doesn't really catch my interest.
Just no meat, so
no meat, just some toast.
Yeah, exactly. It's just some crackers. There you go. Just like,
right. Well, it's if they had done more, and if they do make it more interesting, yeah, sure, I would definitely be interested in watching it. And if I think I would rather just wait until after the show and find out the news than find out straight from them.
No, okay, that makes sense. Andy Mack, what's up, brother? Listen, first of all, do you watch the show?
I do. I've watched every single one. I think some of them are quite boring.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I grew up watching Games Master back in the day, and I reckon if they had like the same setup as that, you know, they get the devs on talking about the games. And then they do some sort of event where people, you know, they compete to win like a prize, which was like the golden joystick.
I was just about to say that then. Sorry.
You know, that's awesome. They do that, and it's great. I mean, the fact that they show things that we already know about, you know, it's a bit. Well, we already know that. It's a bit of a waste of time telling people.
Right.
New controller. I mean, I saw that new controller at about 10 o'clock the same day it was announced,
right?
And they showed you like all angles of the controller as well, and it's like, well, that's done. What possibly could they show me next? It just needs a few tweaks. I mean, I don't mind someone rattling on about what you can find in the game, because at the end of the day, that's what we all want to know. What's in the game? What can we do?
I agree.
What can we expect?
I just think that there are, you know, first of all, and I agree with everyone on the panel, it being too large. And I'm not saying that because smaller is better. I'm saying that if you don't want the program to feel like they're kind of phoning it in because they have to fill the 90 minutes. You'd rather them do a 60-minute program where it's literally start to finish, boom, 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 one after another. And then when you walk away, you're like, wait, I have to watch that again because I was unable to unpack everything in one shot. So I'm going to watch it again. That's what you want. You don't want filler. And I think that's, unfortunately, in my opinion, a lot of the feelings that I get when I'm watching the show, especially when it just seems like there's no flow with the hosts. Like they're almost just reading from the cue card or reading or remembering from their memory what the script was rather than being excited to be there.
Yeah, it needs to be more organic.
Yes.
Like there shouldn't be like, right, guys, we have 90 minutes. What are we gonna have? Oh, I know news has been a bit dry this week, but what are we gonna do? We got about a 20-minute gap to fill. Blah 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 blah. It should just be, oh, okay, it should just go on as long as it needs to. End of the day, they're not like, they don't belong to like a network where they have to be mindful of the show coming on after them or before them. They just stream on Mixer as and when they damn well please. So like any of us doing a podcast, if they've got the topics and they got the news and they got the things to talk about, I don't think any one of us will complain about a 3-hour plus stream if the news and the organic flow is engaging and keeping us interested, or if it's only half an hour because all they have is about 30 minutes worth of info for us. I don't think anyone would complain.
Right.
But I think the main beef many people have reading between the lines is it's just not engaging enough. And I think that could definitely be down to like what you just said about it not being organic. It's almost like it's forced half the time. And I just think, like you said, it could just do with a bit of a shake up, a bit more of a relaxed feel.
Yeah, no, listen, everyone had great points. And I was actually surprised that we were able to get half an hour out of that, to be completely honest. But I love the fact that everyone has a real different opinion and a passionate one, because that's what makes us gamers, right? It's not just what box you play on or what flag you're flying. It's you have passion for what you're doing. And I think that's the real definition of a true gamer. But, I want to segue into the next topic, and I'm sticking with Microsoft because that is the flavor of the show to start, certainly not to end. Microsoft's Game Pass continues to impress. And with the release of Warhammer Vermintide 2, day and date with its release on the Xbox Store, the question that I have for the panel, but also the chat, is Microsoft proving all of the naysayers wrong? And I'm going to go right to Micro on this. The Game Pass seems to for me anyway, keep proving why $10 a month is worth it. What do you think?
It's amazing. It is an amazing feature, and I cannot understand that people are still complaining about it. You've got $7.99. That's all it costs in the UK. £7.99 for what is now, when I looked the other day, over 160 games straight away. And you've got things that, Vermintide 2 dropped yesterday. That is an amazing game. I mean, if anybody's got Game Pass and you haven't tried that game, then you need to download that game now. It's just amazing. But I mean, just off the bat, just off the top of my head, I mean, you've got Vermintide 2, State of Decay 2, Fallout 4, The Division, Sea of Thieves, Elder Scrolls Online, Gears 4, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Just those games alone warrant that $7.99 a month. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And I mean, I've been calling this for ages. I mean, the Game Pass was probably the biggest and the best thing that Xbox has introduced to the platform, to be honest with you. I mean, I come from a background of being married, 3 kids, and I started off with gaming on a small wage, and when you've got a family and everything, you can't afford to be spending 40 quid every week or every couple of weeks on a new game.
Absolutely.
And the Game Pass, I mean, if you're just stepping into Xbox, you've got 160 games there straight away from day one for the cost of $7.99, and I think it's an amazing feature. And it's just going to get better and better and better. And you don't stream these games; you download them to your console and you play them like you own them.
No latency issues.
Nothing at all. It's like you own the damn thing. So anybody who disses the Game Pass, I just think you're just a moron, because, you know, fair enough. I mean, if you don't need it and you've got money coming out your ears and you don't need the Game Pass and you want to own all your own games, then so be it. You know, you've got the choice of subscribing or not subscribing, and it's just another example of a feature that's there that you don't have to take, but you can if you want. But people still hate on. I don't understand it. There you go.
Well, listen, I just want to add a couple of games to what you were talking about, because your list was awesome. But a lot of people don't know this. Let's talk about original titles in the last couple of months. You got Laser League. People should try that game. It's fantastic. Okay. Yeah. You got RoboCraft. Okay, maybe not your thing, but if you have kids that like to build, it's going to be their thing, right? Yeah, you also have Next Up Hero. If you haven't played that, you freaking should, because guess what? It's fantastic. Indie, sure. Okay, Rocket League. The game is out forever, but it's still an incredible game. And then you look at some of the other games on here. Human Fall Flat. I wouldn't have played that. I got almost 1,000 gamer score out of that and loved every minute of it. If you like puzzles, it's right up your alley. Abzu, another one, gorgeous to look on. You know, again, it's like a walking simulator, but you're swimming with fish. It was fantastic. I would probably have never played that unless it was in Game Pass. And then you have some big ones in there, you know, Fallout 4, The Division, Dirt 4, Zombie Army Trilogy. They just released Bomber Crew, which was just the other day. I mean, they're constantly dropping content. Eve, I'm going to go to you because you've been playing the heck out of Warhammer. I mean, do you think that Microsoft has logistically proven all the naysayers of the service wrong?
Absolutely. Like,
nice.
I absolutely love Game Pass. There's so many games that I would never even touch, and I find myself playing them for hours. I just played Costume Quest 2. Why the fuck am I playing Costume Quest 2? I don't know, but it was on Game Pass. So
it's a great game, though. It's a great game.
I had a lot of fun. And especially Warhammer, I'm definitely enjoying that, but I'll save whatever I have to say about that if you do end up talking about it later. But I think it's great, especially for people who are behind in gaming, like Gears. If you haven't played Gears by now, I'm still going to like you, but I'm not going to love you. It's all of them are on here. If you missed out on something because you're new to Xbox in general, the Game Pass is the best thing that you can have.
Yes, absolutely. You know, the staggering list of games that you could play, especially if you're an achievement hunter. Now, I'm a whore.
Yeah, I'm a whore. I'm actually beating you right now.
I know. I'm so
pissed. My eye on you.
Just yesterday.
Oh, shit, you're 15 ahead of me right now, but that'll change soon. No, I have my eye on there. I got Daz. I know you're in the chat, but I'm coming for you.
He's a monster. He's just killing it, man. But you know what? You see, this is the fun that I think Xbox brings with all of these services, because, you know, we're talking about Game Pass, we're talking about old games, we're talking about new games, but we're also talking about, you know, lists and gamer scores and friends lists and saying, oh, you're beating me, but I'm going to get you later. That's what gaming is all about. I'm going to go to Andy Mack. Listen. We've talked about Xbox, and a lot of people have talked about Xbox in a negative way. This, in my opinion, was probably one of the highlights of last year when it launched, and I think that they have proven that the service is worth its $10 a month. What's your take on it, dude?
Well, first of all, I just want to point out that I've played all of those games that Eve just mentioned.
Okay.
Okay.
Gears of War. Yes.
Do you want a cookie?
I started playing a game on Gear Pass 2 weeks ago. Downloaded Dirt Rally. Now I like the rally games better than like the other Dirt games. Can't remember what they're called now.
The grid games. Is it the grid?
No,
grid.
The ones where it's very much.
You mean RC rally type games like Colin McRae stuff like that?
Yeah, I like the old school rally games, right?
Yeah.
And I put that on, and it was like going back to the first time I played the original Colin McRae Rally.
I love that.
Or even like Sega Rally for that matter.
Yeah, and I don't really play a lot of racing games, so Game Pass came in handy because at the end of the day, you're paying in the UK currency, you're paying about £60 for that game, and you're not getting the most out of it. Whereas I'm paying £8 in the UK for that service, and I am killing it.
Yeah,
there's loads of games. Sorry.
No, go ahead, please, by all means.
I mean, there's games on that you know, if you were like curious to what it was, but you don't want to put the money down, you know, it gives you that opportunity to at least try it. I mean, you know, it needs more titles added to it all the time, and obviously they're coming every month. The announcement of Rocket League, I thought that was a day one game, so it was like Rocket League, because they're giving that away left, right, and center on PC. They're like, you want a new graphics card? How about we throw you in Rocket League as well? You know, it's just like, yeah, take Rocket League. It's a great service. I mean, the only people who have complaints with it are the people that have probably played all of those games.
I mean, there's a lot of I mean, listen, look, I'm going to say this. I have 750 something games on my 13 terabytes. And obviously, I you know, people have backlogs. Most gamers have backlogs that are 100 games deep. If you've played every one of those games on Game Pass, you know, hats off to you. But I'm going to say this for a retired guy that plays 6 hours a day. I haven't touched everything in Game Pass. So if you have, then you're a better gamer than me. That's all I can say. But I think that the service is worth it. But I want to hear from the rest of the panel. Aberfowic, what is your take on the $10 a month? Do you think that at this point, where Game Pass is as of today's date, you think that Microsoft have proved everyone wrong, that were like, nah, boom, this service is going to be no good?
In the short answer, yes, definitely. Also, just call me Del. It saves you having to go through the whole agoraphobic gamer thing. But yeah, sorry. I mean, Game Pass, when it first got announced, I think everybody was sort of like, right, okay, so it's like EA Access, and we got this, and they were sort of not knowing where their actual feelings towards it. As it's gone on, people have started to see the benefit of it now. From a sales point of view, I see the great thing that it does, which is it helps people dip the toe into the market, while also it could get them hooked in a way and want to buy the game outright, and they get a discount for it as well. I mean, it works out. I think a month over here is like $7.99 or something like that for a month. If you're on a shoestring budget and you can't afford to pay 60 pounds, sort of $60, or usually ours is, well, actually they're going up to 60 now. But yeah, if you can't afford it, then it's definitely priced right, and it gives you the flexibility of just playing anything. I'd say definitely for families with kids who just basically get bored very easily. So, but yeah, it's defied everybody else's expectations, considering when Sea of Thieves came out, also when State of Decay did as well, that not including the actual Game Pass users, it exceeded expectations for the sales. That just proves it right there. So it's not like it's going to put people off sales. People are still going to buy. So excuse me. And I'm an old digital gamer. I buy all my games, so it's not a cheap hobby, but I prefer to just have it, and I've got a nice library. But for people in the long run, to get the value for money, it's definitely there. It's another option as well. That's what I like about what Xbox is doing now. Underneath Phil, you've got options up the up the yin yang. It's just anything, you know what I mean. It's you can go on PC. It's on your Xbox. You can do the cross saves, and there's cross buy, and more third parties are actually coming in to release the games into Game Pass. That proves a point right there. I mean, at the end of the day, Warhammer decided to release their game straight into Game Pass. And the first cross buy was Resident Evil 7. So you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, it's all clicking. Everything's starting to take off, and yeah, I think Phil's vision's really being realised at the moment, and we're in for a good few years of this, like, you know, and yeah, I'll stick my neck out on that one, because I reckon as soon as the second console like drops, it's just going to be like a great time. So, and Andy's just typed and just going for a pee. Sorry, we're not supposed to announce that. He's just written it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, sorry, that thingy. Yeah, that's my view on it. It's because I've done sales all my life, and the like need factor.
Yes,
it's a big driver in sales. And when like you like say, oh well, you can pay so much, or you can own it, then like you feel like, oh well, I'm playing it so much, I'll own it. So yeah, I'm fired. Thanks for that, Micro. And yeah, just in all, they proved all of the doubters wrong with that one. Classy move, great move, bold one, to say the least, but it's worked. So, and who knows, with the streaming services that like, you know, Phil announced at E3, we could see it going like, you know, even cross-platform, because they're doing great with Nintendo at the moment. You know what I mean? What's not to say that they won't have the Xbox app on the like Switch at some point, and then you can pay like so much to play these games. We don't know. They're
listen, absolutely. The roadmap is unwritten at this point. We don't know where. Listen, all I know is that they look like the really good guys right now, and that's a good place to be, especially with the media the way it is. But I want to get the Welsh gamers a point of view, because I really like when he talks about Xbox, you can tell he's a passionate fan, and he actually gives a flying shit what happens with the platform. In your opinion, Welsh, has Microsoft proven all of the naysayers on both sides of the aisle wrong with the success of Game Pass?
Just gonna cough for this one. Oh yeah, wow, yeah. I mean, like Game Pass. Like for me personally, I don't actually subscribe to Game Pass. I mooched about 10 or so codes when I went to EGX last year. So I'm one of the, you know, hashtag mooch. Shout out to you, dude, if you're hearing this. But I've been riding the wave of Game Pass for free. So even though as cheap as it is, I haven't had to pay a penny. So I just chuck a code in once in a while when I fancy using it. But regardless of what I think taking a step back and looking at Game Pass as, you know, for what it is, I think anyone who can look me in the eye and say that it's bad need to just go to the nearest mirror, look themselves dead in the face, and slap themselves in the face. Because like it's just I don't know how else to say. Like how can anyone have a bad thing to say about Game Pass? I mean, it was a ballsy move, but really when you think about it, it was the most smart move. Like I did a video quite a while back about like the ramifications of this move, like when it comes to game development. Like take a game like Sea of Thieves, like even if people don't actively go out and buy it because they're not sure, the amount of people who will subscribe to Game Pass will likely try it out. And then, as we all know, Xbox goes by active users, and with active users promotes, you know, other ideas. So it's like, oh, you know, if a company is pitching an idea, like Rare was to pitch an idea to Phil Spencer about another project, and they got the active users behind them and the funds, and then Game Pass in general as a service will just provide profit and profit and profit. More money will be flooding in because more people will be inclined to try it, because it's, what is it, like fucking like $10 a month? And
you know what? And if you're, but let me stop you there. You're making great points. But if you're a savvy kind of a gamer, like I need to be, I picked up 6 months worth of Game Pass on Amazon for $30.
Oh wow! Well,
they had a sale during E3, and I guarantee you that same sale will return during Black Friday or the next big holiday. And if, like I said, I tweeted out, and you know who's really good for doing that? Foxy, Lady Foxfire, always puts out her deals. So she, you know, shout out to her. She's always, you know, follow her on Twitter because she puts out some great deals. 30, I mean, that's $5 a month, dude. For that, that's just insane.
It's just. And when you break it down, I mean, even if you're paying full price, so you're paying, like for argument's sake, $10 a month for the 12 months of the year. That's $120 in total. That is the price of 2 AAA titles. So you're getting 160 plus games. Plus, I think people negate to realize, some people might not even know this, or some people just plain try to forget. But these aren't just games that are backwards compat, or games that are remastered, or games that have been out for years. While they have those there, to choose from, this is also games, Microsoft Studio games, that are going to be coming out day and date. Mark my words, Halo Infinite, Gears of War 5, Forza Horizon 4, they will all be day and date with Game Pass. Like, so when you weigh it up, pros and cons, it's an absolutely, pardon my language, Boom, fucking genius.
Absolutely. Listen, this is an adult show. You curse in a professional manner, so I appreciate that. But you know what? Let's not forget. Let's not forget this, and this is never mentioned, and it's a big deal because I'm an older gamer. You have 3 generations of games in this package. You got OG Xbox that look fantastic. You got the 360 games, and you have your Xbox One games. How could you go wrong with this service?
And I remember as well, when it was in early talks, before they'd even announced it, apparently Game Pass was only going to have like 50 titles, which they were constantly going to roll over on a monthly basis. So you lose some, they gain some. But with the addition of back and pat with 360 and OG, and with the decision that every new Xbox title was going to be day and date, now it's gone from what was going to be just 50 titles to 100, and now we're looking at 160. Mark my words, this time next year, it wouldn't surprise me if they were on like 300 titles with Game Pass.
No, they're gonna keep adding to keep enticing the person that doesn't buy a lot of games. And actually, I want to give a shout out. He said that JD Gamer said in the chat that this service is a must for people who only buy a couple of games a year. And then obviously, if you're one of those gamers that buys 5 titles a year, and it's usually your Call of Duty, your Battlefront, or your Battlefield, or your 2K, or 1 or 2 other games in there, your Grand Theft Auto when it comes out, or your Red Dead, Redemption, you sign up for a service like this, and like I said, if you're savvy, you get it for $30 for 6 months, which is basically $5 a month. You have access to all of the first party games. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, look, I'm going to end it with that because we have really knocked it out of the park with Game Pass, and I think Microsoft has hit a grand slam. But you know what? You can't mention Microsoft without talking about Sony, and they hit a ginormous milestone this week. The company has become the most valuable Japanese company for the first time in 15 years. And on top of that, they also closed on a 10-year Japanese stock market high on Tuesday. I mean, look, the 80 million plus PS4s have really turned the company around. But the question that I'm going to throw out there to the chat, and of course, more importantly, my esteemed guests, will this translate all of this success into a better PlayStation 5? I'm going to go to you, Welsh, immediately because I love your point of views when it comes to both consoles. Do you think with all of this success, of course, coming on the heels of the no crossplay thing, this could not have been a better time for Sony to hit these milestones because it kind of wiped that away for a bit. Do you think that this success is going to translate into a better PS5?
See, it's a hard one because I'll commend Sony. I'll give them a clap because I don't want to see Sony fail. I certainly don't want to see Xbox fail. I don't want to see Nintendo fail. To know that any one of these systems, platforms, companies are doing well is nothing short of good. I'm a gamer at the end of the day. I might prefer Xbox, but I'm a gamer and I do not want to see any one of those guys fail. And being that Sony last generation were looking at bankruptcy, and by the sheer grit of the PS4 and the fan base, they have managed to pull themselves out of a huge rut. It's nice to see that in the closing years of this generation, so the next will be obviously Xbox Scarlet, PS5, Nintendo Switch 2, whatever. It's nice to know that they're finally starting to see some profit. They're starting to gain a profit margin. You know, they're starting to look a bit more comfortable. But the problem is with Sony as a corporation is well, not just Sony, when it comes with the gaming industry, I think with any one of these corporations, when it comes to transitioning into a new generation and it comes to the success of a generation, we only have to look back to 2013 with the Xbox One to know that success does not profit and success in terms of financials does not breed a successful generation of console. The 360 wiped the floor with just about every other gaming platform available, but the Xbox One fell flat on its face because of certain business decisions.
Correct. Yes.
You know, so Sony, I think Sony at the minute, it's like I said, it's so nice to hear they're doing better financially, because I'm glad they're still around, and I want them to stick around because it breeds healthy competition and innovation between all the platforms. But even if Sony was in Microsoft's shoes with money and they had no concerns financially, I don't believe that makes it an automatic success. I think it's down to your decisions as a company. And like you mentioned, Boom, crossplay being one of them, being one of the most anti-consumerism choices of a company to date, especially one that sits so pretty at the top of the pyramid. I just think that could cripple you in terms of success when it goes into a new generation. So in the short version is no, I don't think financially successfully being a financially successful company and hitting these milestones in terms of a corporation's financials, I don't think that breeds success. What Sony need to do now is not allow, like success in the gaming industry to breed ego and breed arrogance. They need to take this in their stride and think, right, not only are we sitting pretty at the top in terms of unit sales and all that stuff, we have won this generation, but now we're actually starting to see green in our bank statements. Let's start loosening up a bit and stop being so cautious with our decisions. We've got a huge install base. Let's try and keep as many of these people as possible when transitioning to the PS5, because the way I see it, we haven't got very long left in this generation, and the more decisions they make, like crossplay, denying it across the board, they're just creating unnecessary bumps in the road. So even if this time next year they're twice as big as Microsoft in terms of a company, if they make shitty decisions which gamers don't agree with, that will cripple them. That will absolutely cripple them. I don't think money matters in that sense. Like, Microsoft has all the money in the world and they started this generation terribly. So I don't know if I even gave you a real yes or no answer.
No. Listen, you explained it. You explained it perfectly well. Listen, arrogance is going to be any company's downfall. It happened with Sony in 2006, right? With the PS3, they came out of the gate. They told gamers, "Hey, listen, if you can't afford it, get a second job," right? They had the massive damage real life crab incident, which was not good. And then, of course, fast forward to 2013, Microsoft had too many cooks, in the kitchen, and it ruined the soup. Everyone was speaking out of turn, and that was a problem. And then, of course, Sony, who was on the ropes through the entire PS3 versus Xbox 360 generation, got out of the corner, took a lucky swing, and just said, you can share games this way. And they basically literally won the generation from that moment forward. There's just no doubt about it. I'm going to go to you, Andy Mack. We know that Sony is doing well, and it proves with all this news that we're just talking about now. The question that I have for you is, has Sony learned its lesson from 2006? Are they becoming the arrogance that once plagued that company, or is this success and the rah from the fans going to translate into a better PlayStation 5? What's your take on it, dude?
Oh God, I don't really know actually. I think they are becoming very, very arrogant with the fact that they're not doing cross-play with a game like fortnight. Now, I think that's going to affect them, but not in a huge amount, because let's be honest, people will buy Sony if Sony actually committed genocide. That's how crazy some people are. Yeah. But they are. I think they're gonna. I think the next one's going to be decent. I mean, I think they've really wasted an opportunity to really like do a decent 4K box like the Xbox One X has done. And I think it's great that they've succeeded in getting out of a rut, making some money, because it keeps their lights on. It keeps people in a job, and it's good for people who actually, despite all the crap in the background, who actually like playing on their PlayStation and don't really fall suit to all of these all the crap that goes on with like crossplay and all the other debacles that they come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, listen, that's a good point. You can't argue with anything that you said. Del, I'm going to go to you next, brother. Do you think that we're going to see all the success that the corporation, and we got to remember now we're talking a small division. We're not talking Sony as a whole. Sony as a whole is in trouble. Okay, the only thing saving the company from literally being bought out by somebody is the fact that the PlayStation is just killing it at every angle. They just continue to put out incredible first-party games. They continue to sell systems on the strength of these system-only console exclusives. But all of this success, what does it mean for the PlayStation 5? Do we think that they're going to turn they have the potential, with all of the arrogance that they seem to be walking around with, hurt the PlayStation 5? Because we know nothing about it. We don't know about backwards compatibility. We don't know about frontwards compatibility. We don't know if they're just going to basically make this a whole new generation, say, well, hey, fans, thanks for the support on PlayStation 4, but if you want to play Uncharted, whatever, you got to buy a PlayStation 5. What's your take on it, dude?
Oh, sorry, I was just clearing my throat then. Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, the PlayStation 5 will probably... I mean, they missed out stupidly, like, with the PlayStation Pro, and, like, I'm not afraid to say I've got, like, a PlayStation, but to be honest, it's gathering dust. I did buy it for exclusive, but the only exclusives I've ever bought for it is, let me think, The Last of Us, which I think was version 3. And also Until Dawn, because I just like the whole concept of being
fantastic game.
Oh yeah, it's very underrated, that game. But when you say like with the the side of it where it's like sales wise, like for these certain games that are just like for that system, when you've got an 80 million install base and only say 5 or 7 maybe up to 8 million people are buying these exclusives, let's put that in a percentage form.
It's 10%, dude.
Well, yeah, it's not like a great a great way. I think more people would have bought more, but I mean that's neither here nor there. That Microsoft in 2013 did fudge it. Not for me personally, which I know it always sounds weird when people say it, but I actually bought into the vision that Microsoft were going for, because I was really hoping to have the Xbox family that could use, so I could share all my games. Everybody, I'm I'm all digital. I wanted to be able to have that in as an option. I thought that's really cool. I can share the games with all my friends and they can share it with me, and it was a really good idea. The always online thing got completely blown out of proportion, because I'm sorry, most games these days require an online component for you to even log into the servers. Even if you're not playing online, that's just fact. So that's out of the water. But I mean, the PlayStation 5 itself, they know they've got to come out swinging. Now, with them having the PlayStation division being the main propping up of the company itself, which it is, I know that they've come you said before, which is first in for the Japanese
15
company.
years, yeah, 15 years it's been.
Yeah, that's a great achievement, but when it boils down to the facts of it, hardware isn't where the money is. Software is. Like that's it in a nutshell. Like, and that's just being completely honest, because at the end of the day, they're earning about maybe 12, 15, maybe 20 like dollars on every single like unit that they sell. There's no money in hardware.
No.
Where, like, you know, whereas software, that's where the money is. Now, that's why I can see the reason why they don't want crossplay, because they want to keep the money, that steady, like, you know, influx of money coming to them. They don't want it going to anybody else. That would be like, you know, financial suicide for them. So I can see that. But they have got a bit arrogant. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you thought like that E3 with like the old flute boy at like the front of the bloody thing, I'm sorry, but
yeah, that was bad. That was a bad E3. They've had a couple of back-to-backs, and unfortunately, there's been a lot of apologetic Sony fans. You know, because you know, whether you know this or not, they do have an Earth Defense Force. It is but they do come out in full force to defense. And I thought it was terrible, but I agree with you.
Did they defend that tent?
I don't know, like, to be honest with you. Like, I think they probably asked all the people who actually did go to the show to help them put it down. But I mean, the whole thing is, like, I mean, that in itself showed a bit of arrogance. The whole church thing, wow, that is like cringe. It's like cultism. It's like, yeah, come and worship us, like, you know, we are so
bad. It was bad. Yeah, especially if you have a bad back, standing for that entire time, not a good thing.
Yeah, it was bizarre, but not to take away from the Sony like games themselves, because they do like produce like some really like beautiful looking games. None that have appealed to me, unfortunately, so far, which is a shame, because, like I said, I've got my PS there. It's just sitting there. But yeah, if they listen to the fans, I think that they can actually, like, you know, get through this and like maybe make the PS5 like it'll be on stable ground, so to speak. That's my views on it. But they need to really start listening to the fans. They need to really listen to them, because it just seems like they're just not at all. Like, and I feel sorry for them, because like there's a lot of people who are just PlayStation, and that's fair enough. That's your choice. But when the company starts taking liberties, then you've got to think about your investments.
Correct. Absolutely. Well said. Perfect.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. So
no problem. Eve, I'm going to go to you next, darling. Do you think that this success will eventually taper off and fans are going to continue winning, or there's a chance that this kind of success, along with, you know, the 80 million plus consoles, so goes to their head, they become arrogant 2006 Sony, and PlayStation 5 releases and drops the ball?
I think they're already arrogant. And as I know we've talked about it 100 million times before and everybody's sick of it, but the whole crossplay thing, to me, is a big negative blow on them. If they want, I know that they said that they won't forget about what made them successful. That's great. But what are you going to do to make yourself better? You can't keep using the same formula. You have to move forward. And I feel like that the mindset of Sony right now isn't really about the gamers. It's not really about how they want to, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I just don't think that they are going to be as successful as they hope to be, because they're being too selfish at this point.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that this crossplay, basically, they have buried their head in the sand. It's almost shocking to me that they don't even discuss it. You know, I know that they've come out and they've, you know, the president said, oh, you know, we're looking at it if it makes perfect sense and it's financial sense. But you know what? Sometimes it's not just about numbers. I understand it's a business and I get it. Okay. We all want to make money, but sometimes, you know, when you're winning 2-1 and you're winning 3-1 against Nintendo, I think that you could take the chance and do a cross-play. That's my take on it. Listen, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be. Who knows if it's going to come back to hurt them in the end? Micro, I'm going to go to you next, brother. You're last, but certainly not least in the opinion pool. Look, they're having, they're breaking records all over the place. Console sales, first party sales, market share sales. First time in 15 years, #1 company in Japan, 10-year stock high. The champagne is popping left and right. But the arrogance that has started earlier, well, it's not earlier this month. This has been going on since probably mid-June, I would say, since the whole crossplay shenanigans. Right after E3 with the Fortnite incident. Arrogant Sony seems to be walking around with their chest out, and this kind of just adds to the arrogance, I think. Is this going to potentially hurt the PlayStation 5 moving forward?
I don't think it'll hurt the PlayStation 5. I think it's got its set fan base. I think the problem they've got is if they are complacent, they're extremely sort of anti-consumer at the moment, and
yes,
that's obvious with the cross-play. We've seen this in the past, as you've mentioned, but we saw it with Nintendo. I mean, we saw it in Nintendo with the Wii. I mean, they sold 120 million consoles with the Wii, and the Wii U fell flat on its face because they became so complacent and they put so little work into that next console, and it just fell flat on its face because they just thought that they could do the Wii and put up this new controller with a screen on it, and that was job done, and it wasn't. And I think that Sony could be setting themselves up for a big fall. I hope they don't. I don't, like the rest of the guys have said, I don't want them going out of business. Competition keeps everybody on the straight and narrow, or at least you think it does. But when Sony aren't exactly on the straight and narrow at the moment, but you know what I mean. Competition is good. But yeah, I don't think it could go either way. Welsh said it earlier on. Look at how successful the Xbox 360 was and how much it dominated the market. I know the Wii sold a lot more, but the Xbox 360 was the main console for the big games like Call of Duty.
Yes, correct. Yes.
It was a massive console, and they fell flat on their face with their mixed messages and balls ups at E3. 2013. I mean, they completely messed it up, and it just goes to show how quickly this business can turn on its head. I mean, Microsoft could dominate the next one, or Nintendo could dominate the next one. But if this complacency with Sony continues the way it is at the moment, there's a complete disregard for what the gamers want. At the end of the day, we're the people buying the console, and we're buying it for the functions, features, etc. that console delivers.
Correct.
And if they're going to stop delivering these functions and features, then people are going to start switching consoles. And we've seen it on social media over the last few months. People are switching,
yes,
just because of this cross-play business, and you can't blame them. I think Sony need to watch themselves very closely, and if they continue going the way that they're going at the moment, I think they could end up falling flat on their face on the next gen. There are a lot of consoles out there. There's a lot of PlayStation 4s out there, but I mean, as Del Poy mentioned earlier on, the amount of console sold doesn't really work out into the amount of games sold. I mean, we're talking, like, as you said, about 10%. That's not a lot when these consoles are supposedly selling on these exclusives that they're not really selling. So no, I don't think so. I think it could go either way, and it all depends on how Sony sees at the end of this generation, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people are going to have a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth at the end of this gen. So it's going to be interesting to see, definitely. I think Microsoft are going to come out guns blazing, though. They're not going to be making the same mistakes as they did at the start of this generation. They learned from their mistakes. They know where they went wrong. The cross messages, everybody was saying different things,
right?
And nothing added up at all, did it? So, and because of that, because of all the mixed messages, it allowed Sony to then stir it a little bit more and put even more mixed messages out there and turn everything around that Microsoft was saying. And making it feel even worse, sound even worse. I mean, there's still people today that feel that they can't, they always have to have their console online and all that sort of thing to play their games, and you don't. There's a lot of people out there that still don't understand that, even today. So there you go. Just goes to show how much it can continue. You can balls it up, and it can continue all through that generation. The damage is done. But fair play, Microsoft are having a crack in 2018. They're really turning it around. So,
well, look, let me just. I want to pony up on what you're saying. Unintended, folks. Yeah, you like that, right? I'm not as sharp as attack, but I do have a little sharpness to these teeth. Listen, the same way that Sony came back, the PS3. You got to remember. Listen, let's not sell the PS3 short. Yeah, they effed up in the beginning. But man, towards the end, they were kicking ass and taking names because of what? Exclusives, right? Their exclusives were great. So at the end, they nearly matched what the 360 did. Who's to say that because of this going on, this cross-play stuff, that towards the end of this generation, Microsoft doesn't drop the price of the box. Their first-party titles are going to start really changing for the better. Game Pass, all these different services, Dolby Vision being added to both the Xbox One X and the S, right? That's a new service that's coming for free that Sony does not have. Who's to say that they don't tie Sony up? I mean, is it unlikely? Probably, but who's to say it can't happen? But you know what? Again, I'm the segue king. I'm gonna segue into the next topic, and because we mentioned Nintendo so many times. Last year, 2017, actually, we're going to go back to 2016. Classic gaming was all the rage, right? You had your NES Mini, sold as much as some Xbox and PlayStation consoles. Then they followed up last year's, which I still play it. I think it's magnificent. The SNES Mini, right? That was a big deal. Why? Not just because of the 20 games. The 21st game was an unreleased Star Fox title, which, by the way, is fucking awesome. Okay? I mean, think about this for a second. You're getting a game that's 25 years old for the first time on a miniature console. So the topic is there has been some newly filed trademarks that were discovered that suggest we're going to be hearing something very soon about the N64 Mini, and I think that is a big deal. Let me just, I'm going to throw it out to the panel. Is it something in your wheelhouse? I mean, first of all, are you Nintendo fans? And would you buy an N64 Mini, or even because I know there's also been rumors of a GameCube Mini. Which I think would probably follow that, but I buy them all. Eve, I'm going to go to you because I know that you have a small child. Would you?
Oh, screw her, about me.
Well, I mean, so you'd buy it for you?
Yeah, I would. She unfortunately, it hurts her eyes to play the retro and old school games. So she's been spoiled. So. Well, no, for me, I loved the N64 Ocarina of Time. Anybody? That was one of the best games. You also had GoldenEye. I love playing all the 007s, and then also Super Mario 64, friggin'
Smash Brothers,
Diddy Kong Racing. I love playing those games. I think it's great, and I think it's pretty cool, especially if they do end up doing a GameCube game, because there are a mini GameCube, because there's a lot of RPGs that I played on there. But for me, sometimes it's kind of hard to go backwards and replay something that you've already played 100 times. Of course, yeah, I would definitely try it, but I don't know if I would finish it. So as much as I think it's a great thing to have, it's not going to be for me.
Okay, listen. First of all, there are so many games coming out this fall that, unfortunately, the mighty dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. And when you're trying to run a household, you just can't buy everything. I totally get that, and I'm right. I'm in that boat as well. Micro, I'm going to go to you, brother. Does a mini N64 or a mini GameCube interest you at all?
I'm sold. Just give. I left.
Take my money, please.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was a bit late jumping into the Nintendo. I never had the NES, and I never had the SNES. I was always on my Amiga and my 3DO at that point, and so I was a bit late on there. But as soon as GoldenEye was released, I bought an N64, and I loved that console. I mean, Zelda was just amazing. Perfect Dark. They had such amazing games on that console, and the controller was a little bit fidgety to use. I mean, it was all over the place, but the actual console itself was great. And the GameCube, I mean, for me, the GameCube was a must-have, because it was the only place at one point you could play the Resident Evil games, and I loved the Resident Evil games. So, I mean, I had one. I mean, the only downside to the GameCube was that it didn't have a DVD player, and it was the only console at that time that it didn't have a DVD player. But yeah, no, I mean, definitely, I'm definitely on for them. I mean, I've recently pre-ordered the Atari VCS.
Nice.
I've got the Commodore 64 Mini as well. I love that console.
My brother's a big fan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a massive Commodore 64 fan. I love that computer. I was nearly said console, then it wasn't a console. You know, I mean, I go way back with gaming. I mean, Christ, I've been gaming since 77, 78. So I mean, there's not many consoles I haven't.
Yeah, there you go.
There's not many consoles I haven't owned, and I still go back to my Amiga 1200 even now. I still go back and play Lemmings and stuff like that, because I just love all that stuff. So yeah, no, I mean, if they're doing a Nintendo 64 Mini, I'll definitely pre-order. I was seeing all these messages from Welsh Gamer on there calling me a fraud.
you know what? I'm gonna go to you next, Welsh, because you called him a fraud. What is your take on the whole classic scene? Is it something that you would consider buying, or it's just a pass for you?
I think it's fantastic, mate. I think Nintendo's got a really good thing up their sleeves. I mean, like with the Xbox, you've got back compat with OG and 360, which is like an added option. But for Nintendo to go that like little extra mile for like, I don't know, I suppose like the retro touch, just to keep it more nostalgic, bringing out these little systems, I think it's fantastic. I'm yet to buy one. I do intend to buy all the ones they've already released, but the Nintendo 64, hell, I have so many fond memories of that system, like mainly on Mario 64. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think the fact that the options there is brilliant. But I just want to say this though, like, as great as this news is, I got to call out Microbox on something.
Here we go.
He said, like, what was your words? Like, oh, I've been gaming, you know, I've always had, since way back when. Yeah, like, you know, like back when, you know, you were starting fires with stones and shit.
Hey, listen, I'm a caveman right there with him. We're
modern. We don't use a goat for power, and you know, the only reason you were late was because your goat wasn't tempted by the carrot you gave him this morning. So don't give us all that.
Hey, I got ponies. I'll have you know, I'm the pony master.
Yeah, and they're blue, by the way, blue ponies.
I thought the incentive would have been from him coming from behind anyway. They want to move forward. Sorry, I couldn't help but put that one out there. Well, sorry.
But no, Boom, literally, I think it's fantastic, mate. I haven't bought a Nintendo like Mini as of yet, because I know they've already released like 2 variations of it.
Right.
But the Nintendo 64, I'll probably be picking up. I imagine day one, if not, you know, quite close to day one, because I'd say honestly, like I always enjoyed gaming. But what truly cemented my passion for gaming was the Nintendo 64, because it was the first console I ever bought for myself. So, yeah, like, in answer to your question, I think that's amazing. I think retro gaming still has a place in today's world, whether via backwards compat or via these little mini systems they're making. I think it's fantastic. I'm all for it.
You know, I just want to shout out Mojo Blues. He actually brought up something I totally forgot, because there is going to be a Neo Geo Mini that's going to come in our mini arcade cabinet. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it. It looks absolutely mint. It's a day one buy from me. And a good shout out, bro. I'm going to go to Dell next. Listen, most of us started out with Nintendo, and I think, you know, Nintendo. You got to look at it like this. The Wii was a phenomenon. Then they absolutely, completely, whether it was cockiness, whether it was not reading their market right or reading their fans right, they absolutely dropped the ball, and the company was in big trouble. Then obviously you fast forward to the Switch. It's amazing. It's selling like hotcakes. They drop an NES Mini. It literally sells more in back-to-back months than a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One. That's a big deal. The SNES comes out. forget about it. I stood online for it like a complete jackass because I wanted to get one, and the store only had 8, and it was like one of those eBay things where people were selling it for $500.
Yeah.
But would you be interested in the possibility of an N64 Mini for you?
I mean, personally, like I agree on the side of evil on this one. Like I've already played those games. This is why I'm not really into like say like most indies or anything like that. Although I do buy games through the game preview because I want to support developers and I do like some of the games doing. To buy something that I basically like, I've owned everything apart from the Wii U. That's the only thing I've never owned. I actually got a Neo Geo imported to this country so I could play like King of Monsters. I think it was King of Monsters, like the fighter game. Anyway, get off the point here. But yeah, to me personally, it's not something I'm really bothered about. I mean, I'm more looking ahead. I from being like for 35 years of gaming, seeing where we've actually got to, it's amazing. Like, I mean, kids these days, like, and this isn't me like, you know, ragging on them like at all. Like, they don't realize how basic it was, and like to see where we're coming to now. Like, and I mean, you just gotta look at obviously Cyberpunk. I mean, I used to play that at pen and paper. You know what I mean? Like, it's like with Warhammer. I used to go into the Games Workshop in the town centre in Liverpool, where I think it originally began, like, and play the tabletop game with like all the creatures. So I'm old school, like Dungeons and Dragons and all that type of stuff. So when it's first, like, obviously it was into gaming as well. So to see it like transform to what we're at now, where it's getting photorealistic, is just mind-boggling. I want that. To look back at the past, yeah, it's great for nostalgia purposes, but for me, not my cup of tea, to be honest. I'd probably buy maybe like, you know, buy them for like my nephew, especially because like he's into he plays Xbox. In fact, I really hate it when he plays Xbox at mine because he puts me to shame, especially online. Playing Fortnite or COD, he really makes me look like an amateur.
Those young skills, dude.
Oh,
forget about it.
Right, I sat there and I watched him play. It was like zombies on Black Ops 3, I think it was. I think it was Black Ops 3, and he just sat there and he wasn't looking at the screen half the time, and he managed to get like through up to like level 30 and beyond. And I was like, why aren't you looking at the screen? He goes, oh, I know this bit anyway. Like, and he was just like, no. He's talking to me and watching the screen, just getting really high scores there. And I'm like, I can't even get past bloody wave 12. What's going on? So, yeah, I mean, nostalgic purposes, yeah, I'd probably buy it for like my nephew so he could see what games we play, but he'll probably laugh at me. But yeah, I mean, not for me, to be honest, unfortunately. Okay. It's a good option, though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. For people who want to revisit their childhood, it's certainly options are great, and this is the generation of options for sure.
Boom! Can I just say something quickly?
Please, by all means.
I promise I'll be short and sweet. But someone in the chat, who was it? 2 seconds. Who was it? Oh, it was. Oh, who was it? Oh, sorry with that. Oh, that's it. Attack the Glitcher.
That's why you don't drink.
Attack the Glitcher. He said, "What are your guys' thoughts on the PS1 Mini?" I just wanted to quickly say that Xbox and PlayStation, in my opinion, can eat a dick if they even think for a second about if they think for a second about making a mini Xbox OG or a mini PS1. I think Xbox and PlayStation are in a different position. They're both in the position where they can do a convincing backwards compatibility program, you know, which Xbox has capitalized on. So PlayStation need to grow a set of nuts and do that instead of any kind of mini. The reason it's so significant for Nintendo is because it's such a I know Nintendo. A lot of people grew up with Nintendo, so you know it's got that appeal for a retro mini box. Like, I think they get away with that. I think it suits Nintendo's, like, the way they market their console generally anyway. But in answer to your question, Attack the Glitcher, yeah, PS1 Mini, suck a dick. All right, that's all I got. That's it. I just wanted to get it off my chest.
And with that said, we'll go right to Andy Mack. Listen, bro, you've been quiet, and we want to hear your voice. What are you a classic gamer? Would you be interested in an N64 Mini, or you just a pass for you?
It's a no.
It's a no. Okay, I mean, listen. Okay, what I was actually going to say is, if I gave you a choice of a 6-pack or an N64 Mini, what would you take?
Well, actually, I actually prefer the 10-pack.
Oh, well, excuse me. I apologize. All right,
that's £9, can't go wrong.
But listen, nothing wrong with that. Look, Dale, you mentioned it when you watched your nephew play COD. Black Ops 4 is already, for me personally, a no-buy because it's multiplayer only. Okay, but new evidence that was posted yesterday suggests that the blackout mode, which of course is the Activision's answer to PUBG, is only a 60-player count. Now, besides the no single player, the fact that playtesters have come out, whether it be publicly or secretly through back channels, saying that the game is absolutely complete rubbish. Now you hear that it's only a 60-player count as opposed to the 100 that's basically on Fortnite and PUBG. Does this hurt the game? I mean, first of all, I think the game is going to flop already. I'm telling you right now. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I doubt it. But Eve, I'm going to go to you first, darling. I don't know whether you play Call of Duty or not, but for me, this is a pass because I'm a single-player kind of a guy. I'll dabble with the multiplayer, but I'm not spending $60. And they have the actual nerve. They're the only company that is doing a season pass. If you want the maximum package, it's $130, which is ridiculous.
But that's only for 2 maps. Like, for me, they did already hurt themselves by making it multiplayer only. I used to play Call of Duty for the campaign, and I would mess around with the multiplayer with friends. At this point, with the Call of Duties, I really don't care. I have played them all. I am caught up, but it's not something that I have to have. It's more just to play with my friends who really enjoy it, and it's something else to play. But I don't, the whole, if they do, like, the whole Battle Royale thing, it was really, really cool and really, really fun in the beginning. But now, I don't think every game needs it. I think I might be a little irritated if something like Gears had it. Agreed. But with 60 players, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't really care because I won't be playing it. Okay. But it may be unfortunate for the Call of Duty fans.
Yeah, I think the Call of Duty fans are gonna suffer, unfortunately. Welsh, I'm gonna go to you next, brother. I don't know whether you play Call of Duty or you don't, but I think that the blackout mode with only 60 players, as opposed to what you can play 100 on Fortnite and PUBG, is going to be a problem. I think that this game is ruined the minute they came out and said no single player. It has been bad news after bad news. I think this might be the first flop. Is it a pass for you?
I think, unfortunately, Call of Duty, we were on the topic of ego and arrogance earlier in terms of Sony as a corporation, but I don't think a lot is that different when it comes to Call of Duty, the guys behind Call of Duty. I think that, I think the biggest flop this generation from them was putting Modern Warfare Remastered behind a $180 bloody paywall for Advanced Warfare or whatever it was. And take as long. Well, yeah, no worries, Boom. Well, you go and have a pee, dude. But yeah, but I think I just destroyed his subtlety. My apologies, Boom. But no, yeah, where was I? I think that was the biggest flop that Call of Duty could have put to the forefront with that business decision, and it still succeeded. People still played it. It sold a lot of copies. It might not have been, groundbreaking, sales, but they still sold. I don't think there's many things Call of Duty can do wrong. on a business level. Like on a personal level, I think Call of Duty died with Modern Warfare. With the exception of World War II, I do actually quite like that, but that is because I'm a World War II nerd. But this blackout mode, it is blackout, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Call of Duty Blackout. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand maybe some people's frustration that it's only 60 players, but the way I see it, I do not see a rule book or etched in the walls of gaming that Battle Royale has to have 100 players. I'm happy for it to be 60 players as long as it's done properly. Because I like Battle Royale. I mean, I think it's getting oversaturated and it's overhyped. But to say it doesn't have a place in the gaming industry, I think would be wrong because, I mean, there was a time when like Team Deathmatch as a multiplayer game type would have been the new kid on the block, and people would have been like, oh, Team Deathmatch is on every game. This is stupid. But now it's like no one thinks anything of it. Like you buy a game if it's a shooter, if it's a franchise shooter like your Halo, your Gears, your Forza, your Call of Duty. Odds are it'd be a safe bet to say that it will have Team Deathmatch. So with Battle Royale, I mean, I know it's in its infancy, and Playground Games sort of brought it to the forefront. Playground Games, Jesus, this beer's gone to my head. PUBG brought, made Battle Royale a bit more, mainstream, and you're just going to see it everywhere you go. So in answer to your question, Boom, I don't think Call of Duty having Battle Royale is a flop. I think you're going to see it everywhere. The price point now could be a flop. If it is, in fact, a multiplayer-only game, then they need to price it correctly. They cannot be charging you $60+ for a half a game. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I think the problem is this. If I've been a Call of Duty player since Call of Duty 2, right? Which launched on the Xbox 360. But as we knew multiplayer came into the fray with the 360, right? Now, when later versions of Call of Duty came out, you paid $60, right? If you're the $60 player, what you got was a full-on campaign, 15, 20 hours, right? You got your multiplayer, which was the standard maps, launch maps, no problem. You got a zombies mode. If you were a fan, you spent the additional $30 or $40 or $50, whatever it is now, for the map pack. I get it. But now, Black Ops 4 fans are paying $60 for multiplayer only, zombies, and a blackout mode they haven't shown yet. And from the sources that I have spoken to regarding this, and if you troll the 4chan forums enough, you get to see who's on there. Who some people speak rubbish. It's the truth, but there's some truth to what people say. There's a lot of problems with development with the blackout mode, and this game is coming out in a couple of months. So Del, I'm going to go to you, dude. Does this, with all of the negative news surrounding this? And now, of course, the story breaks yesterday that their supposed PUBG killer mode is only 60 players. Do you think that this could be the first Black Ops that fails?
I'll be honest. There's always going to be a player base for COD.
Yes,
because
sure.
like the thing is, like, it's not like people are going to stop having babies. You know what I mean? There's always going to be like teenagers that are going to want this game. So. For me, I bought the last one because it was World War II, and I thought I had high hopes for it. And yeah, it just felt the same. To me, it's dead. It's been dead for a while. It's just done. And the multiplayer move was like, I could see it happening. I knew they were just going to concentrate on that because they can make money through microtransactions, of course. But yeah, like I say, putting Battle Royale in there, every bloody game and its dog is
it's getting a little long in the tooth for sure.
Yeah, And at the end of the day, it's just basically a more up to date, a more different ruled version of free for all. That's it.
Yes,
You
yes, it
know,
is. Absolutely.
that's all it is.
Yes,
But
yes,
like,
it
I
is.
mean, and this isn't to deflect from how good that like type of game is, because like I both play PUBG and Fortnite. I like them for different reasons. I like PUBG because it's realistic. I like Fortnite because it's just like silly and fun. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I've got the Carlton dance from out of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I love that emote. But anyway, I mean, it's they just. Yeah, it's been oversaturated. It's like every single year they brought one out. The last one I really enjoyed was I think it was 4, which was Modern Warfare. In fact, no, sorry, Modern Warfare 2. That was the last one I enjoyed properly.
Black Ops 1 and 2 were really good. 3 could be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people did like the Black Ops, like thingy. The campaign, yeah, don't get me wrong, it was good, but yeah, the multiplayer, excuse me, it's just been done to death. Yeah, I just it's just the same. It's the same old thing. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to play it, just stick in one of the older versions. That's it. And to put all of that behind a paywall, it just shows the amount of cojones that like Activision have got and disregard for the consumer base. And the reason they're doing it is because they know people will buy it.
Yeah,
They
that's
know
true.
the money will be spent. So that's
Yeah.
why they're doing it. It's just cash. That's it, cash grab. They're gonna milk that like cod cow till it's like dry. You know what I mean? It's just gonna be like a former shell of itself, and it's just gonna die in a field somewhere or be shot like Old Yeller. You know what I mean? It's just it's done. It's done. I mean, at the end of the day, like I prefer Battlefield more because it's more.
I like
strategic.
Conquest mode better anyway.
Oh,
Conquest is great.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like obviously Battlefield 5 ordered, like, and I'm gonna get like hopefully, well, we get the early access to the beta and stuff, and that to me, that's the future of the shooters, because that makes you work as a team. In Call of Duty, nobody cares about the team; they care about themselves. It's just single kills. That's it. So yeah, for me, it's definitely a pass. Like, I did buy the last one because my mates bought it, and I thought it'd be good because it's World War II, but yeah, it's just it's dead to me now. That's gone.
Okay, listen. Well said. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Eve, did I ask you about this yet? I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I could always go for another round.
Well, if I asked you, yeah, listen. If I asked you already, I don't want to, beat the horse. Again, me having to run for a second was not a good thing. Andy Mack, I know I didn't talk to you yet about this.
We're not young anymore, are we?
No, listen, dude, I'm going to be 48 this year, brother. Okay, so I'm the old man gamer. But Andy Mack, listen, I don't know whether you play Call of Duty or you don't, but for me, this is, of course, a no-buy. Does the fact that they're going to short the fan base 40 players as opposed to like a Fortnite or a PUBG, do you think that is going to hurt the title, or you think people are just going to buy it anyway?
People will buy it anyway because it's COD.
Yeah.
I won't be buying it because I've really just gone off the game.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, World War II for me was all right. I mean, the multiplayer I barely touched.
Me too. I'm right there with you.
And I just think it's one of those games, just like Assassin's Creed. They need to have a break. This PUBG style section they've got in the game, and all the other things that are just going to be multiplayer only. The game needs to be free now because they make loads of money off the microtransactions just for like skins and stuff, just like Fortnite. They could easily make more money doing that way anyway, probably. I mean, I started playing Call of Duty from, I think it was Modern Warfare.
Yeah, that was the first one.
And then
with the multiplayer, the first one, Modern Warfare 1.
I mean, I didn't play the multiplayers until I actually got a Xbox 360 because at the time my internet connection was incredibly poor and it was on the PlayStation 3 and it just didn't give me a great experience. I mean, everyone was like Nightcrawler from X-Men. You know, like someone would appear, they'd disappear. It's just like you just couldn't play the game. But then I got into the multiplayer side from Black Ops, played from all of them from there. And then I missed out Infinity War because I just think it was another overdone gameplay style. But I won't be touching it.
Well, listen, again, they're going to lose a lot of people. I just want to do a quick shout out. J-Dubs in the chat basically is asking a question whether or not we think that it's going to be purchased by younger gamers. And you know what? Last year, I would have said yes. This year, I'm going to say no. And I think that the younger gamers are already playing a game for free. That's incredible. And they just launched Season 5, and Fortnite will continue to dominate the universe. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, I also bring up J-Dubs for another reason. He in the chat, the moderator of the universe dropped a link for a GoFundMe for J-Dubs. Now, if you don't know who he is, he's not only one of the nicest guys that I've ever come across on in the Twitter family and YouTube family that we run in, but he does a lot of pro quo work where he does things for people and he half charges them, or sometimes he doesn't even charge people. He ran into some financial issues, so he has a GoFundMe. And I encourage everyone. I don't care if you drop $1. I don't care if you drop $5. Jay is one of the internet nice guys. I mean, listen, you meet a lot of people, but I can say wholeheartedly that I have yet to meet a person as genuine as he is, and he's a genuinely nice guy. So look, Daz, if you don't mind, throw that back out there so the people that might be interested could click on it. And like I said, the reason why this community continues to work is because we support everyone, and that means each other. Whether that be through GoFundMes, whether that be through super chats, and whether that be just coming to someone's show and throwing a "Hey guys, I'm here," or a like or a favorite on Twitter, it does help, and that's what's going to keep this community strong. So if you can donate and you're in a financial position to do that, I encourage you to go out and help this guy. He is, in my opinion, one of the internet best guys that I know. Thanks.
Can I just say as well, Boom? Like I've only had a few run-ins with J-Dubs, the graphic god. Yeah. Spoke to him on a few occasions, either co-guesting on a show. I'm pretty sure we were both a guest on Double Barrel. Breakfast with Boom. I've spoken to him a handful of times with MC Mornings, but I got to give him a shout out, seeing as we're on the topic of J-Dubs. What a talented dude! Like really talented. Like the presentation on MC Mornings, not to mention the countless avatars you see that he's done. I mean, big kudos to him. He deserves all the success in the world. He's a very hard-working guy with a lot of talent, and he deserves all the success in the world. So again, just in conjunction with what Boom is saying, click the link and drop him a dime, help a brother out.
I'll second that, because like I've got obviously like I've got my new avatar up now, which like it's exactly like what I wanted. It
looks amazing, dude. Really well done.
I'm really happy because like I mean like I've got like a Punisher tattoo and everything. Like Uncle Frank is my main guy. Like he's my favorite character. So to get like my avatar looking like, well, because my avatar looks like me as well. Like it's brilliant. But he's a talented guy, and we were chatting like about comics and stuff like that. He's so yeah, very knowledgeable, very nice, and yeah, I'm just more than over the moon with my avatar pick. So yeah.
And I'll third it as well, because I mean he did mine, and I've been talking to him. I mean he's been following my channel since I've started my first channel. I didn't realise that, but no, he's a great guy, and he deserves all the support and all the help from everybody in the community. Definitely. I mean he's done an amazing job on my avatar, and done Dale's as well, and Mr. BoomStick's, and it's fucking awesome. Go and support him.
Excellent. Well, listen, very, very well said. It's great that everyone knows about this. I'm honored to throw it out there on my show. I think he's absolutely worth the time and the money should you feel like donating. I think it's a good cause. And you know, it's great. I'm sure it's, you know, he already said in chat he's humbled. Listen, Jay, don't sell yourself short, brother. You are a big light in this community, and I hope that you know, things do work out for you. But we're gonna move on to the next topic, and this one is kind of a cool one. A bit of a detective cap. Now, I didn't find this information. I pulled this story from Games Radar, but I'm going to say this: whoever found this out, holy shit, they should be working for the police department. Now, this topic is about whether or not we're going to be getting a Resident Evil 2 demo before the release. Now, this is the new evidence that was uncovered, and I don't know who it was, but the story again was pulled from Games Radar. Okay, now check this out. During the Resident Evil 7 demo back in 2016, okay, while watching one of the videotapes, the numbers 00551-90009 comes up before the tape starts. So now you say, well, why is this significant? Okay, now this gets really crazy. Way back in the days of the PlayStation 1 days, okay, so get ready for this, folks. The Resident Evil Director's Cut was released for the PlayStation 1. And what was significant about that particular Director's Cut is it came with the Resident Evil 2 demo. Okay? The product number on that game was SLUS 00551-90009, exactly identical to the Resident Evil tape. So now we have to speculate. Now, there was a Resident Evil 7 demo, obviously. It would behoove Capcom to get this out there, because this is going to sell I think it's going to sell 10 million copies, because if you watch that 17-minute footage from GameSpot, holy shit, Resident Evil 2 looks absolutely legit. I know that this was a bit of a stretch for a topic, but you know what? This is what we do. We speculate about things. Eve, I'm going to go to you first. I know that you like horror games. First of all, do you want to see a Resident Evil 2 demo?
Actually, as I do play Resident Evil, and I do like some horror games as long as I have a babysitter with me. But like I won't even touch Resident Evil 7. I do think that companies put in little clues and stuff like that for us to figure out. They're the Easter eggs.
Right. Correct.
So I do believe, and it would be smart for them to put in a demo for Resident Evil 2, because even that, it's been so long since I played it, like years and years and years ago, that I can only remember bits and pieces. But I am actually really excited for it, and I think there will be a demo.
Yeah, listen. First of all, Noof Nukem, welcome to the chat, brother. He asked if there's going to be co-op. As far as I know, I don't think so. But I'm not making it. I am going to say this: E3 on the Sony stage, we saw the Leon demo. From the information that I had just recently pulled when I pulled the story, the Claire Redfield demo is going to be at Gamescom. And I'm not sure who's showing that. That could be just Capcom themselves. I don't know if it's going to be on anyone's stage per se. But Welsh, I'm going to go to you next, brother. Do you think that this little clue, which again, whoever found this out was a complete genius, in my opinion, do you think that with the success of Resident Evil 7 with the demo coming out, because really that's what springboard this game's success, besides it being great, do you think it's in Capcom's best interest to release the demo for Resident 2?
To be honest, I don't think this is a conversation that should be limited to just Resident Evil. I think pretty much any game should have a demo. I just think it's in the best. I think it's just in the best interest of just about any game. But if we're talking just about Resident Evil, yeah, why the hell not? I mean, I'm not the biggest. I'm just throwing it out there just so there's no no confusion. I'm not the biggest Resident Evil fan. I played Resident Evil 4 on the Wii, Resident Evil the 1 or 2 on the PlayStation 1. I haven't touched Resident Evil 7. It's definitely a game I want to play, but I haven't played it. I played a little bit of Resident Evil 5. Just basically in a nutshell, I'm not a true fan of the franchise, but I can understand why plenty of people are. But like I said, just to Resident Evil is a very, 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 very popular franchise. With the Resident Evil 2 is the remaster coming back. I think why the hell not? Like, have a demo, like get people's taste buds going, get people excited. And like I said, that goes for just about any game. I think more games should be doing demos. I don't see any reason not to. But in terms of Resident Evil, I think if you're excited for the game, and it did them the world of good and gave them a good platform and a good gave them put them on a pedestal, ready, with like Resident Evil 7 before that came out and all that stuff, then yeah, I think it'd be silly not to. I think it's in the best interest of the game. So in short, yes, absolutely. But in large, I think it shouldn't be confined to just Resident Evil. I think gaming today, I see no reason for there not to be like a weekend demo for just about any game that comes out. But yeah, that's all I can really say on the matter.
Okay, no problem. Del, I'm going to go to you, brother. This is a clue of clues, and it dates back to the PlayStation 1 game. But do you think? I mean, listen, I'm not saying I think they should have a demo. I want them to have a demo because I played that Resident Evil demo on the PS1 150 times before the game came out. I just absolutely loved it. Do you think it behooves them for Capcom to maybe maybe during Halloween or in the month of October when it's spooky month, say, hey, listen, world, January 25th, Resident 2, but you can play the demo now?
Yeah, I think it will make sense because maybe it might open more people up to like the option of never having tried any of the Resident Evil games. Which, if anybody's out there that's listening that hasn't, I strongly recommend you do try them because I'm been a fan since the first one. I'm a fan of all the films, even though they get knocked because they're a bit cheesy. But I absolutely love all films. I got them all on Blu-ray. So, but. Yeah, I mean, I saw the footage, for the actual game, it's just they've not basically just done up the res or whatever. They've actually redone the whole entire game. You can tell it looks stunning. It does.
Yeah,
look
it's shocking how good it looks. The amount of care and precision they've given, the respect that they have shown this title is just unbelievable.
Definitely. I mean, just from that standpoint, I believe that it does deserve to sell a lot of copies because they have put some real energy and heart into that game because it just looks fantastic. And seeing the gameplay as well, and it's still got the same type of feeling that from the Resident Evil franchise. I mean, I love the last Resident Evil, Resident Evil 7. I played it, and funnily enough, that's I got I think it was a 14-day trial for me PlayStation because I wasn't going to buy any online, so just so I could download the demo for the new one, so I could play it.
Right.
So yeah, putting out a demo would increase the market in a way because it'd open up to more people. Similar in the way Game Pass does it. It's a game you wouldn't usually try. Well, it's free, so
right. Yeah,
no
put out a 45-minute demo in just that little police area, where the offices are, like they did with the original, and you'll get sales. That's a good point.
Yeah, and end it obviously the demo with Nemesis or something and obviously you crap your pants and then it ends and you'd be like, whoa, I need to play this. You know what I mean? That'd be perfect. But yeah, I mean, I can see this doing very, very well because it's not just a rehash. We have had some of the remasters that have come out, but with this one you can tell that they've actually just done it from scratch. Really, I don't think they've used any of the old assets apart from obviously what the level.
No, this is built. This is built from the ground up, brother. From the first brick to the last, brand new.
I mean, everybody if it does come out as a demo, like everybody should download it and have a go of it, because nothing was more atmospheric and like sort of made your chest, like your heart come out of your chest, like than the Resident Evil. Some of the predicaments you got in with all the zombies coming at you, and like they are proper zombies. They walk instead of run. Like, I won't get into that subject, but nah, running zombies don't happen, right? But anyway, yeah. For all in all, it'd be great if this little nugget of information which has come out, which there's, I think there is something behind it, and with the Resident Evil 7 demo, they might have seen an uptick in sales, because obviously number 6 didn't do as well as planned. Even though I quite like that one, it was all right. But yeah, they definitely should do the demo. Everybody should play it, and everybody should buy the game. I'm getting it, because I just can't wait to just jump back into that world again. It's gonna be emotional.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Well, it's a classic game being reimagined. It's not a one-to-one reboot, but it's going to be, like I said, Capcom is doing the right thing with it. Andy Mack, I'm going to go to you, brother. Do you think that, with all of the secretism that's going on with the codes and, this story coming out, do you want to see a demo from Resident Evil 2, and will it benefit Capcom?
I think demos benefit any company, to be quite honest. I mean,
yep.
I'd rather play a demo than play a beta or a beta.
Yeah, I agree.
And having that little tiny bit of nostalgia for the older generation who've played that particular game, I think is great. You need that, and a lot of people play the retro games for the same reason. So why not put it in?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be beneficial for everybody. The fans are going to get a small taste, and you'll know right then and there if it's for you. And Capcom is going to get a buzz. And
I think on this topic, mate, I think it's just fair to say the best way to market a game is to allow the gamers to have a taster of it. You could do as many interviews, you could put out as many gameplay trailers, you can have IGN dissect the game, Digital Foundry analyze the game. Nothing will sell a game better than the gamer getting a taste for it. That is just fact.
I call him Boring Foundry, because that's the boringest voice I've ever heard.
Well, listen, last but certainly not least is going to be Micro. I'm very interested to hear your thought on this. Capcom has been basically hitting home runs since the release of Resident 7. I mean, you had Resident 7 that sits at over 6.5 million copies sold, so that's a big win. Monster Hunter World comes out early this year, completely takes the gaming world by storm. And now you hear that in 2019, we're not only getting Resident Evil 2, but we're getting Devil May Cry 5, which is the continuation with Dante. But the demo for this, I think, could be big for them. What is your take on them coming out with a demo, possibly?
Well, I think they should do what they did with Resident Evil 7 and do sort of like do a demo, but do it in the form of like a prequel or building up to the moment where the game starts. Just give us a little taster of what it's going to be, but not going into the game. I think we should have more demos. I don't think there's enough demos. I mean, this used to be demos used to be everywhere.
Yes, it used to be commonplace.
Yeah, they did. I mean, you used to buy the magazines every month, and you used to get your tapes in your disc on the front and your CDs. And now we're at a point where it's all digital. It's even easier to get these demos to us. And I don't understand why they're so thin on the ground. And they do sell games. Whether Resident Evil 2 needs one, the game itself should sell. It doesn't need a demo, to be honest with you. It should sell itself. I mean, it's to me. I mean, I'm a big Resident Evil fan. Resident Evil 2 is still to this day, I think, the best one they ever made. I mean,
correct. That was number one on my list for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've played through and finished that game multiple times using both characters, and I was a big fan of it. And Resident Evil 3 Nemesis was a close second.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil 7. I still haven't been able to go back to it. That game scares me to shit.
Oh, you shitbag. Sorry, I didn't say. You gotta play that game.
It does. I've got to finish it because I just got to a point and I was just crapping my pants. But
I was gonna play it in VR. First of all, Resident Evil 7. I beat 3 times on the on the Xbox One and twice on the PS4. And was going to play the whole game in VR until I played the kitchen demo.
Oh, yeah, on the PlayStation.
That thing is running around. And you know what's funny? It goes to show you how realistic that the VR can be. When she rolls the guy's head, I lifted up my feet like it was going to hit it. It was like, my wife was like, what are you doing? What are you seeing? Like, yeah, someone just rolled a head at me and I didn't want to hit my feet. So, yeah, I think it would be good.
I played that demo on the PlayStation VR and I didn't sleep for a week. When she sticks that knife in your leg, you can actually feel it. And it was like, what the hell? This isn't if I played Resident Evil 7 on VR, I don't think I'd sleep ever again. And I'd probably end up in some kind of institute. I honestly do. It would
you'll sleep again. I thought you'd be comatose. You'd be in hospital. You sleep forever. You have to.
I mean, they have done such a good job with that, but I cannot wait to get on Resident Evil 2. I mean, yes, there should be a demo, but don't do a demo of the actual game that we're going to get. Do a prequel demo. Do what you do with Resident Evil 7.
Get your appetite wet for
get your appetite wet for it. Yeah. But don't actually give anything away from the what you're going to receive. I mean, the game looks amazing. They've done an amazing job. Give us Dino Crisis back. Bring back Dino.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I like Dino Crisis, but I'm going to trump you with an Animusha reboot. Just saying.
Oh my God!
Yes. Yeah. I want Animusha really bad.
I could be that one as well.
This is what I'm talking about. I mean, you talk in the chat and everything on about Viagra. You don't need Viagra when you're throwing names around like Animusha and Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Come on.
Whatever floats your boat.
Sequel.
Yes. Listen, I am going to say this. It has been confirmed by Capcom, but the 4chan forums, which I mentioned earlier, I did a story at the end of last year that got me 10,000 hits on it with Resident Evil, and I reported on a big leak, and the leak wound up being 100% true. The same leaker reported last month that inside sources from Capcom have said that if Resident Evil 2 does well, they will remake 3. So just keep that under your cap, and we'll see. But listen, get out there and buy Resident 2. Look, I'm going to do this. We've been running this show 2 hours, and I honestly cannot thank the chat for being in here long enough, but more importantly, the panel. I mean, you guys came out, whether it's in the afternoon or in the morning, like Eve. I really appreciate you being here. So we're gonna get into the outros because I really like when people come on the show. It really does mean a lot to me personally because you're taking time from your day to come out, and you're obviously putting your name out there, which is why the outro is going to be so important to me personally. But you're spending time with me and you're helping my channel grow. So and one hand washes the other, both hands wash the face, right? So when you're gonna do your outro, I really want you people to I want everyone to really tell people where they can come find you, because you're all a talent. There's everyone that's on this panel is talented and deserves recognition. And because I'm a gentleman, like I always do, Eve, I'm going to start with you, darling. Please tell everyone where they can follow you on Twitter and follow you on the shows that you're on.
Well, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Primal Eve. You can also come play with me on the Xbox, also at Primal Eve. And I am on Monday nights on the Game Dosage on Attack the Glitchers YouTube channel at 9 o'clock Eastern.
Nice. Very good. Eve. Listen, follow Eve. She's a good gamer, and she has a very spiked tongue. So be prepared. She's not mousy at all, which we all love that. I mean, you talk about something and she just boom, she hits you with, and you're like, I didn't expect that. Well, you should expect it. Good stuff, Eve. Thanks again for being here. It's greatly appreciated. Welsh, listen, I gave you an opening like nobody's business, so I'm going to give you an outro like nobody's business. Listen, I started listening to you when I gave up mainstream media. You're one of the first personalities that I listened to. I think that you have such a passionate way of talking about the Xbox platform. Like when you do your videos, like I listened to them twice. I'm a huge fan. We're good friends. We've talked privately about our personal lives. So, more like a brother than just somebody I'm having on the show. Please tell everyone where they can find you and follow you, bro.
No, Boom, honestly, man, the feeling is 110% mutual. Meeting you is one of the highlights of my YouTube career, is how you'd word it,
Yes.
so far. And I think very highly of you, and I think what you're doing here is amazing. So thank you for having me again. In terms of where you can find me, Xbox Live, the Welsh Gamer 93, one word. Twitter @the Welsh Gamer 93, and just to keep it original, my YouTube channel name is The Welsh Gamer. So honestly, guys, thank you for watching. Your support for this show, it's just amazing. The community's so good. You touched on it earlier when we were, dropping J Dubs a dime. The community is just incredible.
Really is second to none.
It's unbelievable. It's probably one of the main reasons I still do this. Like, I'll be honest, I've had moments where I've wanted to call it a day and stop, but the community and people like yourself, Boom and Micro, and just people I've met through YouTube is what keeps me going. I love it. And just to end my outro, Eve, when you said the words, "You can come play with me on Xbox," I think half the chat fell over.
Because they knew I was spelling it a different way.
I haven't seen the chat so quiet.
I love it.
I
love it.
I stood up. So yeah. Anyway,
it's always a pleasure having you on, dude. And like I said, I think I'm going to be on the next. We talked earlier that I'm going to be on the next week's Dragon X. I'm looking forward to that. I like the vibe that you have on there, and we're always wondering when Comcast is going to come and get your buddy. So that's always fun too. It's kind of like we got to start taking bets on that. Listen, I'm going to go to you, Del. Look, dude, we met just the other day. I think it was last Saturday, as a matter of fact, for the first time. And I immediately said, I got to have this guy on. I like his personality. We hit it off. I know you say you don't do a lot of videos, but still, your opinion is important. I think it is valid. And where could people follow you and listen to your work, bro?
I mean, people can follow me for sure. Like, I'm on Twitter @Delpoy, so just my name on here. And I'd also encourage anybody who wants to follow me on Twitter, if you do have any type of mental health stuff that you want to get out there, I'm always listening. Because I'm a mental health advocate.
Yes, very important. Speak about that, bro. That's important.
Yeah. So if any of you feel like you can't talk, trust me, you can. Like, you don't need to keep quiet. And I'll always be there to listen to anybody and help them out as much as I can. And if you want to have me on Xbox Live, it's same Delpoy, and funnily enough, same on Mixer as well, because I do some streaming every now and then just for shits and giggles, really. But yeah, thanks for having us on. It's been good.
Well, I appreciate you coming by, dude. And like I said, you have my support. I'm only a DM away, bro.
Yeah, cool.
All right, listen, Andy Mack. Again, we had talked on DM that you really wanted to be on the show. I hope you enjoyed yourself, because I loved having you. We had a great conversation last Saturday. Tell everyone where they could follow you, dude.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter, Andy Mack. I've recently changed my gamer tag on Xbox. Yeah, it's Beardy Mac 86.
Yep.
Oh,
and I know it is
the best beard in the business, people.
Oh yeah.
He's not far off wizard status. He just needs to grow a little bit longer.
You can follow me on Instagram as Andy Mac 86, and in the Facebook group Project Xbox with the rest of us. Everyone in the panel should join. I mean, I've just ruined Microbox's X's. Like,
I forgot to mention it, so you helped me, to be honest. So.
Oh, and you can find me at home drinking Thatcher's Gold. Yeah.
He does tweet about drinking quite a bit.
UK does. So
we're going to have to have an
Andy at the pub.
intervention. Yeah.
I want to say shout out to everyone in the chat. It was great. I think Eve should say more things.
Well, if you come play with me, you can hear me talk all day.
Nice. This is a.
Are you on about Xbox?
Okay.
Xbox?
Sorry,
Can we just have a demo of you saying insert floppy disk here?
No.
Oh my God. This is again. It's back on the rails, back off the rails once again. It's like Indiana Jones, the minecart scene, on the rails, off the rails. This is what this makes this show go around. Listen, Micro, I love having you on, dude. We've been back to back shows, and it's always a great time. I think that not only do you do fantastic on the Dragon X podcast, I think that the being a showrunner yourself, your show is just fantastic. I think everyone needs to follow you and to subscribe to your channel. Give everybody the info so they could do that.
Oh, cheers, Boom. No, I really appreciate being on here. I really do. And yeah, it is. It's going back to back to that. Yeah, we're on a Dazcast on Wednesday, and sounds like you're on the Dragon X on Thursday. And no, it's brilliant. No, I love it. Just thanks for having me on. And you know, I have a great gang that do the. Oh, I nearly said the Dragon X then. I have a great gang that join me on the Micropod, and you know, it's a really good panel. And you know, Del Poy and Andy Mack are both on that with myself and Shermanator and Hebot. We have a great time on that show, and it's just awesome. And again, you know, with my really good buddies on the Dragon X, Erock X, and obviously my friend the Welsh Gamer as well. It's just a blast. So yeah, check those channels out, check those podcasts out. And you can find me on YouTube, Microbox of X, Twitter at Microbox of X, and on Xbox Live as well, Cloned Trooper. That's CLONED space Trooper. That's my gamer tag, and by all means follow me on there as well. And if you see me on, send me an invite and we'll do some gaming. I definitely want to do some gaming with Eve at some point, although I don't think I'm going to do very well because I don't think I'm going to be able to concentrate.
Yo, Micro.
Sorry if I make things hard for you.
Yes.
Boom, boom.
I need a soundboard so I can do like a drums. Boom, boom.
I was just going to say, Boom. Microbox of X just extended the hand, much like Eve, about like playing with him. So let's do like a social experiment. So Micro, it's your turn now to say insert floppy disk. Let's just see the reaction in the chat
before we can let Micro do it.
Insert your keys here.
Very nice indeed. And with that, we're going to end today's show. Listen, once again, a big shout out to UK Dazarus, moderator of the universe, which I've coined. And if listen, buy a t-shirt because you know what, we all need money. He does a great job out there. And a big shout out to the chat. And once again, a big thank you to the panel. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. It is gorgeous here in New York. I'm not sure how it is from the rest of the world, but enjoy your weekend. Be safe. And I will see you on Tuesday on the next episode of Boom's Pop-Up Podcast, which I will announce what we'll be discussing. And also, this week is going to be the first episode. It's more like a news program. It's going to run about 30 minutes. It's going to be the top 15 game stories, where it's just me talking. Hopefully, it works out and it doesn't bomb. Gaming news at noon with Boom is going to be debuting on Wednesday at noon, obviously at noon. So, you know, pop by the chat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk as much because obviously I'm running the show by myself, but you know, I like to try and keep the channel fresh and interesting, and I like content that brings the people back. Plus, you know, again, I really want to respect people's time. Have an awesome weekend. Goodbye, everyone.